I'm Jason with the All Things Open team. We're here with Vrushali. Please introduce yourself to our community.
Yeah, sure. I'm Vrushali, and I am an engineer, a marketeer, and I have also done my data science graduation, and I am in the data science business as a data scientist now with SAS. And the most lovable aspect of my job, I would say, is I get to work on the things like trustworthy AI and how they could be seen in the technology, because it is good to talk about principles, transparency, privacy, security, accountability, but then how can you make sure that whatever offering, solution, AI system that you're developing and convert that to a developer, because that is what I think is the missing part of the puzzle, is because those are the ones who are actually developing stuff.
Right.
And if they know about, okay, how can we do that? I think that is the most exciting part of the job that I'm currently working in.
Great. Well, I want to talk more about genAI.
Wonderful.
What's exciting about it for you?
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Time savings. I mean, productivity. I love it. It gives me a good template to start on. Like, I do write a lot. I do speak about. I do podcasts and stuff. It gives me that basic wireframe to start off with, and with a caveat that you have to have that human in the loop aspect of it. You just can't give me a template on this podcast that I'm doing and you just say what it is
Right.
telling to you. Do that. There needs to be some human intelligence element to that to make whatever the template that it has provided into something that is valuable. So I think that is the most exciting part. That it saves a lot of time.
Right.
It's productivity-wise, it's amazing. Love it.
Well, as good as it is, are there any concerns about genAI?
Yes, a lot. And I'll wear my hat from work, which is exactly that. We're trying to work on find potential harms that generative AI can build into, because I think no one in the developer community, except you are an AI red teamer or if you are a hacker, thinks that, okay, you know what, I'm going to code just to harm it. It happens unintentionally, and it happens because there is no diverse perspective in it, right? So generative AI does have these issues about groundedness, like whatever it is generating, is it
Right.
true or not? It is just, I would say, algorithm which predicts the next word which will go better with the previous word, right? So not necessarily everything is true. So groundedness and privacy issues, I would say, if I don't know if my data was used into training it without my consent.
Right.
So those privacy issues. And again, there's whole element about transparency around how it came to this conclusion. Is it giving me sources where this thing is coming from and all those things?
Well, let's dive into that a little bit more.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay.
On the transparency side, why is trustworthiness a really strong component for open source AI?
That is a wonderful question. I think trustworthiness is something that has to be embedded into the technology, and that is what I passionately work for. It becomes very important because all these concepts about having an inclusive AI, having transparent AI, making sure that you have that human in the loop in the AI systems that you are generating, that becomes important. And there are three basic questions that you can ask, like, for what purpose? Like, why am I using this AI system? Why am I designing this AI system? For whom I am designing it, and for whom it might go wrong. So these three questions can encompass that trustworthiness element in your AI system, and it becomes important to make sure that it is not creating unintentional harm. Like, for example, you are making sure that every community, every languages are represented in the large language model, because not everyone speaks English, not everyone speaks the most common languages which this LLMs are trained on.
Right.
Like, I myself, I speak 4 languages, and I don't see, sometimes I just play around with these Gemini and the LLMs that we have. say, I just speak to them in a different language and try to see what nuances.
How does that go? I'm
Yeah.
curious.
It is funny. Sometimes it gives a very, very nice answer. Like I was like, oh, I didn't think of it. And sometimes it is like, it does not answer at all in the way that I am. And sometimes I play around with it. I mix the languages. I sometimes give it English, and I sometimes throw in my mother tongue, which is Marathi, which is spoken in the western part of India, and let it handle. And it doesn't do that code switching very well. But
Right.
it's a part of experimenting.
Yeah.
And these new things are definitely are like they are rapidly evolving. So we need to be evolving with them and make sure that they are robust and trustworthy in a way.
Hey, this is Todd with All Things Open. Thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. We've got a lot of new content coming we think you're going to be interested in. One final favor, be sure to go to allthingsopen.org, allthingsopen.org to see everything that we do. Back to the video.
We're here at All Things Open. I wanted to ask, do you have any tips or best practices to share with the ATO community? And that could be a tool that you just discovered or something that saves time. That's not genAI.
Oh yes, definitely. I love coming to ATO. The last time I came to ATO was in 2019, and back then I just came to gain knowledge from different sessions, get to know what are the open source projects that are happening, and there is a really cool stuff out there. And I think one thing that you can go back when you go back to your regular jobs after this conference is like making sure, okay, how can I make sure that the open source project that I heard about, how can I bring it into my regular work, or how can I introduce it to my colleague? And like you mentioned, what is some of the productivity tool that I have been using? So this is funny. I do a lot of blogs and podcasts and stuff. So I'm trying out Notebook LLM. I think it's from Google, and it's great. You can throw it all the resources, and it can create a podcast for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about this some more.
But again, you can review it,
Yeah.
edit it, and make sure that whatever it is spitting out is grounded and not making any claims which you would in a podcast.
Got it.
So.
All right. Well, we have 5,000 people here. They're going to learn a lot over the next few days. Do you have any advice on what people can do with all that knowledge after the conference?
Yes. So, tactical things that they can do. One, go to LinkedIn, talk about it, write an article, increase your presence online with all the things that you have learned. You can create or contribute to an open source project. That way you can, because you have learned about all these nice projects that are happening, and you might be something that you don't do in your daily job, but you got to learn here, contribute to that. And like I said, writing blogs, articles, creating a tutorial, like, okay, there is some new generative AI tips and trick that I learned. Maybe I'll just go create a tutorial about it. And
Sounds
that's
good. Yeah. Well, we All Things Open might have a blog where people can contribute called We Love Open Source. Just going to give that little plug.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just have fun and soak up as much as knowledge you can at All Things Open.
Sounds great. Thanks for your
Yep.
time today, Vrushali.
Thank you, Justin.
All right.